Today I would like to introduce Samsung's enterprise work container solution, Samsung Knox Workspace. People sometimes get confused between Knox and Knox Workspace. Knox Workspace is a product that leverages all the underlying management and security features of the Knox platform that is built into most Samsung devices. Knox Workspace completely separates work apps and data from the personal space. In particular, all work data in the container are encrypted, and the key used for encryption and decryption is stored in the very hardware of the device itself in the chipset. That's one of the reasons why Knox Workspace is much more secure than any competing solutions in the market. And a lot of customers in regulated industries such as government, finance, healthcare, and others prefer Knox Workspace as a tool to secure their corporate data on mobile devices. Before we get into details, I want to give you a quick overview of our Knox platform and explain exactly what it is and how Knox Workspace leverages this platform. I also want to take a look at the typical business requirements that Knox Workspace is designed to address, and then look at the key advantages of the product. The Knox platform is built into the device at the manufacturing stage and enhances security, manageability, and productivity for all customers with a series of overlapping security and defense mechanisms. In particular, Knox platform is widely known for its unmatched security mechanisms anchored in the very hardware of the device. As part of the Knox family, there are products or solutions that integrate with the platform. Knox Workspace is a container that allows for the complete separation of work applications and data from the personal side of the device. Knox Premium is an enterprise mobility management solution. Knox Enabled App is a specialized container designed to protect individual applications. And Knox Customization is a software customization service product. Today, we'll discuss Knox Workspace in more detail. These days, we're seeing mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets throughout the enterprise. Some researchers predict that in 2016, over 550 million devices will be sold for enterprise use around the world. Similarly, an increasing number of these devices will be used for purposes beyond simple transactional processes such as messaging and calendaring, as enterprises increasingly deploy mobile business solutions and applications. These devices are all endpoints on a network that exists beyond the corporate firewall and need careful management so as not to present a security risk to the enterprise. Likewise, the data that is created and consumed on these devices needs to be protected, both at rest and in transit over networks that are typically beyond your control. On the other hand, employees that want to use their personal devices for work don't want to have their privacy invaded by the IT department. They also don't want their company to possibly block or prevent them from what they like to do during their private lives, such as downloading web content, reaching out on their social networks, or watching videos with their mobile phone. Or, more seriously, they don't want IT personnel to have access to their banking applications or other sensitive personal data. Therefore, we need a solution to meet the conflicting needs for corporate information security and personal privacy. To address the conflict between corporate data security and personal privacy, nowadays enterprises tend to adopt not only MDM but also secure container solutions, which separate corporate applications and data from the personal space on mobile devices. Lots of enterprises have even started using a container solution on their corporate-owned devices for extra security. Samsung launched Knox Workspace in 2013. It's an enterprise work container using defense-grade technology to provide complete isolation and security to corporate applications and data, as well as unparalleled IT management controls. In contrast with other container solutions, it's a product that is tightly integrated with the underlying Knox platform and provides the very best protection and defenses for your work applications and files. Employees can access and save corporate data in the work container with a user experience that is identical to the native Android OS on their device, and the workspace container as well as the data inside are managed by Enterprise Mobility Management Solutions. How does Knox Workspace secure corporate applications and data, thereby protecting both the enterprise and the individual? First, all corporate applications and their associated data are completely isolated from the rest of the device. They are stored in a separate memory file from the personal side of the device. Visually, the work icons and data are accessible in a separate work folder or screen on the device itself so that the user can see a clear distinction between work and personal spaces. The isolated work memory space, in turn, is protected by a distinct encryption key. Even if the rest of the device is encrypted, the Knox Workspace uses a different key to encrypt the isolated work applications and data. And finally, the Knox Workspace and every device feature that can be used within it is under the complete control of the enterprise IT department via their mobile device or enterprise mobility management system. With this approach, Knox Workspace provides two distinct environments on the device: a personal one that IT does not control, and a work one that's under IT's full control. With a security architecture so strong that it has even been approved for use by many national defense agencies around the world, who are some of the most notoriously security-conscious organizations in the world, the use of Samsung Knox Workspace has spread across industries and regions of the world. Customers, both in markets with mature and highly sophisticated IT infrastructures, as well as in emerging markets, are using Knox Workspace to secure their corporate data on mobile devices. In particular, some of the prominent government departments and agencies requiring the highest level of security and some of the largest multinational enterprises have approved and adopted Knox Workspace as their mobile security solution of choice. Knox Workspace is designed to meet the very stringent needs of highly regulated industries including government, financial services, and healthcare. But on the other hand, it is proven to be an ideal solution in professional services, communication, manufacturing, education, and other industries. That's because security is the foundation of enterprise mobility regardless of industry. Knox Workspace provides features that fulfill all of the different requirements of any enterprise customer, regardless of industry, size, or location. Now let's take a look at some of the key advantages of Knox Workspace. First of all, Knox Workspace provides unmatched security with both software and hardware integrated protection. This isn't just an MDM container sitting on an untrusted foundation. With Knox, we are securing the entire device, not just the container. In addition, Samsung is collaborating continuously with all major MDM/EMM providers so that Knox Workspace can be effectively managed by their solutions. Samsung Knox Workspace also provides value-added features to make the container more productive and convenient to use. Of all the advantages that Knox Workspace brings, information and device security is the most important. We call our security architecture defense-grade because it has been approved for use on highly secure government defense networks in more countries than any other product or solution on the market. Knox Workspace leverages and extends the security features of the underlying Knox platform, which is built into Samsung smartphones, tablets, and other devices. This is very, very important, so please allow me to go into a bit more detail. Your mobile device is a combination of hardware, operating system, and applications. You can think of this as a layered stack as shown on this slide. Each layer serves a purpose, and if you have access to a layer in the stack, by definition, you can control the behavior of the layers above it. There are a lot of tools and solutions on the market that talk about providing security in the mobile world, but almost all of them are only software-based. The problem with the software model is that there is always a layer below what is protected that is susceptible to attack. Many MDM vendors provide container solutions, but they aren't able to protect the underlying software layers of the operating system. This is not their fault. They simply don't have access to the OS in a way that would permit them to do so. A standard container solution provides a secure environment, but on an unsecured foundation that is still susceptible to attack at a lower level. And even if you protect all of the software layers of the operating system, where do you put the encryption keys? Unless you embed your keys in the hardware, those keys are also susceptible to retrieval, and your device can still be attacked. Whereas, Knox Platform has a totally isolated hardware region called Trust Zone, where the cryptographic algorithms and keys work, so it is impervious to attack. This is how the Samsung Knox model is different from others, and this is what we mean by hardware-backed protection. Here's the finishing touch of hardware-backed protection. we stored the key for encrypting Knox Workspace into Trust Zone. As I mentioned just before, although you best secure all of the software layers, it's just an incomplete security model and nothing more than an illusion if you don't embed your keys in the hardware. On the contrary, Knox Workspace is inaccessible to any rogue behaviors. If the device itself is ever deemed to be compromised, the container is permanently locked. The encryption key is inaccessible and non-retrievable under any circumstances, thereby preventing access by anyone or anything to potentially sensitive corporate information, both on the device and on our broader corporate network, even in the case that a device user intentionally roots or jailbreaks the device. It probably goes without saying, but the first line of defense for the Knox Workspace should be a password. Fingerprint, PIN, and pattern support are also available. The administrator can mandate what protective mechanisms are used and their complexity with two-factor authentication. So how do we install and administer Knox Workspace? Also, how do we install and use apps inside the container? We intentionally steered away from designing Knox Workspace as a way to sell extra add-on tools and servers. We designed it so you can take advantage of it out of the box with the existing corporate IT infrastructure that you have in place today. We work with mobile device management and enterprise mobility management partners around the world to ensure that they have access to all of the tools and resources necessary to manage Knox Workspace. This, of course, includes industry leaders such as those represented here, but there are many others. We work with our partners to ensure that they can provide our customers with access to advanced Knox policies and device features and the ability to control those from their existing IT environment. With many of the mobile container solutions on the market, a process called app wrapping is required before putting an app in the container. Or, for some container solutions, the app vendors need to republish the app after making required changes to the app using the SDK of the container provided. Samsung Knox Workspace has removed this extra step to make it easy and simple to load Android apps into the container. In the earliest version of Knox Workspace, only the wrapped apps were allowed in the container, but now IT admins can push any Android app to employees' containers without any app modification. IT admins can also enable the Google Play Store in the container so that employees can easily download and use the apps they need anytime. This is possible because there's no need for app modification. This is all part of our theme of ensuring compatibility with existing IT environments. Knox Workspace also provides value-added features which can help improve the usability and the flexibility of the device. Knox Workspace provides the identical UX as the personal space, so there's no learning curve needed when adopting the Knox Workspace container on top of the native Samsung Android device. In addition, employees have an option to choose which layout to use, either a launcher type or a folder type. The one on the left is a folder type, and you'll notice it's the same as a folder you would normally create on a device screen. On your right is the launcher type, which allows IT to publish a different background to the workspace, giving the user a clear visual distinction between work and personal spaces. We've talked a lot about separating the corporate IT-controlled work area from the personal side of the device. But Samsung has left a bit of room as an option for IT admins to allow employees to share some of the data between these distinct partitions. For example, contacts and calendars can be shared between the two if IT admins allow it. In such a case, even if a person saved in the work contacts calls while the user is on the personal side of the device, the user will see the name and picture of the person calling along with the phone number. Likewise, IT admins may allow employees to copy and paste content in Clipboard or the files in and out of the container. The key point here is that Knox Workspace provides the flexibility that users require, as long as the corporate IT administrator permits the use of a feature. By default, options to share between the workspace and the personal side of the device are disabled. Enabling these options is dependent on the IT policies of each organization. For those customers who use Microsoft Active Directory as an identity management tool, Knox Workspace integrates seamlessly with this to unify the user account credentials assigned to each employee. With this option enabled, each employee would be able to use the same enterprise ID and password to unlock the workspace container. It may not sound like a huge benefit, but it certainly adds value to both IT and employees, so there's no need to manage two separate IDs and passwords. Likewise, we can extend the model to use single sign-on, meaning that if you are authenticated to access the Knox Workspace container, you don't have to log into each individual corporate application within the container. Here's another good example of how Knox Workspace offers value-added features for enterprise customers. There are many companies that purchase corporate liable devices for employee use at work. Because the devices are corporate-owned, some of the companies wish to enable only the container on the device and not a personal side, so that IT admins can have full control over the device. This is where Container-Only mode comes in. If Container-Only mode is activated, the device will boot directly into the Knox Workspace and there will be no way out to the personal side. So as soon as the device is turned on, it gets protected by the multi-layered security mechanisms of the Knox platform as well as Knox Workspace. Earlier in the presentation, I mentioned that the Google Play Store could be enabled in the Workspace container by IT admins. And when enabled, a user can download and use any app from Google Play, unless that app is blacklisted by the IT department. Even though this feature significantly reduces IT admin workloads, by removing the app modification process, there still remains the issue of which apps in Google Play to allow for the employees, as there may be some which are inappropriate for use for the corporate network. To address this concern, Google has launched an app store called Play for Work for business users to use. Samsung has worked with Google so that Play for Work is available on Samsung Knox Workspace with Knox version 2.6 or above. Play for Work provides a great deal of flexibility to the controls that IT admins have over the application environment. First of all, IT admins can select which apps are shown in Play for Work so that only authorized apps can be downloaded and used by the employees. Also, IT admin can purchase bulk licenses and push the apps to employees' devices without any user interaction via Play for Work. Now let's summarize what we went over today. First, Knox Workspace is a market-proven solution that, at this very moment, is being used in more than 50 countries worldwide, in various industries including government, finance, professional services, and more. Second, it provides defense-grade security by completely isolating the work data, which are protected not only by software, but also by the hardware of the device. Lastly, Knox Workspace is compatible with various EMMs in the market, so that you can plug it into existing corporate infrastructure. For further details, please contact your Samsung Enterprise sales representative or visit us at samsungknox.com. Thanks.